Hey guys, it's Young Wealth. Now in today's video, we're going to take on the question whether it's better to dollar cost average the quant or actually to buy a large lump sum of quant. Right now, I went ahead and actually made a spreadsheet, a document on the pros and cons of both strategies. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you my humble opinion on which strategy is better, right? So we're going to break down all that today in the video. But before we even get into that, we have to look at quant on CoinMarketCap for a second. As you can see, the price is around $183. And on the 24-hour, it's up 10%, guys, 10%. Okay, now when we look at the graph, we can see a clear uptrend. When I made yesterday's video, the price was $174. Now it's $184. The uptrend is clear. You're seeing higher highs and you're actually seeing higher lows. So that means we're on a great uptrend in the past 24 hours, and hopefully we continue. And for the people that have long-term held, the profit is well deserved. Okay, so before we even get into the spreadsheet, I have a few things I want to show you. I want to show you guys this tweet. As you can see, it says some people will be buying QNT at $1,000 per quant. Let me read that one more time. Some people will be buying QNT at $1,000 per quant. When I think about that, that's actually crazy because we are seeing the quant at a price of $184. But some people are going to buy it at $1,000 and it's still going to be a great investment. Why? Because it's still potentially a 50x at a dollar price of $1,000. So at the end of the day, I won't be buying at $1,000, I don't think, but there'll be a lot of people that still get into quant at 4 figures. Why? Because it's still going to be going up in the long term. So when you put it that way, we're very early into this project and it's a great thing to look at. Now, the last thing I want to show you guys before we get into the spreadsheet is the channel. Now, as you can see, the channel's on an uptrend. We're making all-time highs. As you can see, the graph is just spiked. We're going crazy, like 5 away from 400 subs. So I want to tell all you guys that I appreciate the subscribe button and I appreciate the support. Now, let's get into the juice of the topic, okay? Now, dollar cost average or buy a big chunk quant. Right now, let's talk about the pros of DCAing first, the dollar cost average method. Right now, as you can see, it alleviates risk of unrealized profits in the short term. Now, what do I mean by that? When you are adding, like, let's say $20 a day and you're just doing it every time the clock hits 12 p.m. or 12 a.m., whatever time you're doing the dollar cost average, you're alleviating the risk of losing a big amount of money in the short term, because we know in crypto, the short term can be very volatile. Like, you can see 5% spikes, even 10% spikes to the upside or the downside. Okay, so it kind of alleviates the risk of you seeing a big unrealized loss. So that's the first pro of DCAing. Right now, the second pro is you're buying at every average price till take profit targets are hit. So that means you could be buying on the downtrend. You're just buying at every average price. So it means, that's what dollar cost average means. It means you're buying at an average price. So you can literally be buying all the way to the top. But once your target is hit, you are going to execute the sell order. Like, I want you guys to understand, when you are investing, you want to have targets so you know where you're heading to. If you don't have a target, you don't know where the destination is going to be, right? Or where it's going to end, or when it's enough. When enough is enough, you're not going to know, right? So that's another one. Now, the other one, the third one is you won't be as emotional on the downside. Now, why do I say that? Because we're going to compare it to the big lump sum or the big chunk, right? If you were just adding $20 a day, you don't really see the whole amount you're putting in. Over the long period, $20 a day can build up to thousands. Like, in 365 days, $20 a day is 7,000, right? But if you just add that over the daily, over the months, you're not going to really see the big losses or the big drops because you're just adding $20 a day. Okay, so you're not really going to take it to heart when you see it down $100 or $1,000, because at the end of the day, you're buying at average price. But when you buy a big chunk and you put in it all in one, when it goes down 50% or 30%, you might be more emotionally attached to it on the downside. Okay, because you've literally put in a big amount and it's went down percentages. But when you're just adding 20 a day, it's not going to affect you as much because all you're really seeing is, I'm just taking $20 out of my pocket every day. So it's not going to affect you because you're not going into a bank and taking everything out and putting it in at once. Okay, so that's the other pro. Now, it decreases the risk of placing a buy order at a bad time. Let me say that one more time. Another pro of dollar cost averaging decreases the risk of placing a buy order at a bad time. Now, what I mean by that, like, let's say you have a big amount of money and you buy at a bad price at tops. If you're just a beginner and you don't know anything about technical analysis, you buy at a bad price and it starts to go down and you literally bought the top. Now you're kind of wrecked. But if you're dollar cost averaging, you're not going to be wrecked because you might have bought $20 worth at a bad time and that's it. So the next day you're buying another $20 at a better time, okay? Because it's lower now, it's more, you can buy more coins for more cheap. So that's the last pro I want to talk about. Now the cons is you may miss out on capitalizing off mini pumps pre-bull run. Let me say that one more time. You may miss out on capitalizing off mini pumps pre-bull run. Now, why do I say that? Because we are not on the bull run, but QNT is damn near up 89% in the past 30 days, okay? So if you were dollar cost averaging from last month, you didn't make as much money as the guy that just put a whole lump sum of money in last month, okay, in the last 30 days. So he's capitalized more of that. Now he can decide, I'm gonna just take a little chunk of profit. But when you're dollar cost averaging, you brought all the way to the top because you're just doing it daily. But the guy that brought a lump sum at, let's say, $94, he can decide, or he has more leverage and what he wants to do in that position. He can say, you know what, I'm gonna take 5% of my portfolio and take it as profit, okay? But you can't really do that when you're adding just daily or dollar cost averaging, right? So that's a con. Now, the next one is uptrends can last for months or years, making your buying price more expensive over time. Now, you guys have to understand, if you just go on Quant's graph right now, and we go on the all, you can see that the uptrend started when it was $46 over here on like the 6th of the 18th, right, 2022. It was $46, $54, right? And it just kept going up. And that was an uptrend over time, okay? 4 months later, it's still on an uptrend. So for the people that dollar cost average, they are literally just buying for more expensive over time, because from here, that was 4 months ago. 4 months later, it's still on an uptrend. That's why it's very important to take this down. It says uptrends can last for months or years, making your buying price more expensive. If you just added a large lump sum of money here, you made a lot more money than the guy that dollar cost average, but we're going to get onto that. Now, the other con is, the last Quant con is, you're betting on a bull run to happen at a predicted time or speculated time. Now, why do I say that? Because we all pretty much believe that the next bull run will happen in 2025, but what if it decides to happen earlier or later? Then you don't really know. If it decides to happen a lot earlier than that, then you're kind of feeling frustrated because you put your belief on a certain time or a certain year and it didn't come into fruition. It actually happened earlier. That's the risk you run with dollar cost averaging right now. That's the last con, okay? Now, for these ones, this is the lump sum investment. Now, the pros of a lump sum investment: bigger benefits to taking small profits on small spikes, okay? Now, what I mean, like, just let me give you an example. With this upside, Quant is up around 10% on the day, right? Now, if you put in $5,000, what's that if you take 10%? Let me see how much profit you make if you take 10%. If you make 10% in a day, right? You make $500. Now, if you decided, you know what, I want to take a quick $100 profit, it's not really going to affect you that much. So you kind of benefit of small spikes. Now, if it goes back down and it has a dump, then you can add that $100 back into your investment at a cheaper price, right? You sold high and brought low. So that's what I wanted to talk about on that one. Now, the other one is you maximize profits if you invest at a good price. Now, let me show you an example of this. Like, if we just go over here, right? If you invested at the bottom at around $55, you've maximized your profits. Now, unless the price of Quant goes below $55, pretty much you're in the green forever because you are at a price where you brought the bottom, right? And it's been nothing but uptrends ever since $55. So it really shows you that you can maximize buying a large lump sum, okay? Now, the next one is, it's less hassle to store and manage in a cold wallet, right? This is an interesting one. I just had to add that in to give my own spill, add that into there. When I say this, I mean, like, when you're just adding $20 a day, I don't think you want to be sending $20 a day in Quant into your ledger or your storage, whatever wallet you have, right? Like, it's kind of, it's inefficient, okay? Like, you don't want to be just adding every day like $20. That can get annoying because you're doing it every day. But if you have a large lump sum of money, you can literally put it there and let it sit there. If you're looking to hold long term, okay? It depends on what you're trying to hold for, how long you're trying to hold for right now. Let's go on to the next one. It says you will be in more profit than dollar cost average if you invest at the beginning of an uptrend. Now, let me show what I mean by this. Let me read that one more time. You will be in more profit than dollar cost averaging if you invest at the beginning of an uptrend, okay? Now, let me give you an example. If you start dollar cost averaging here, what's making more money, the dollar cost average or the guy that dumped a large amount of money into the bottom? Of course, the guy that dumped a large amount of money into the bottom, because he's buying at the cheapest price. When you dollar cost average, you're buying at 54, you're buying at 72, you're buying at 92, you're buying at 103. You keep buying at more expensive prices because you start dollar cost averaging on an uptrend. That's the hard part, right? But we're gonna get into my opinion pretty soon. We have a few left, right? Now it says on the last pro, it says you won't be worried that you may have missed the boat when coins pump in a big amount. We can all relate to this. If you haven't got enough money or you feel like you haven't got enough investment into a coin and it starts pumping, you pray that it just stops pumping so you can continue to invest more money. But if you add a large lump sum at one time, you could say, you know what? If QNT decides to spike to $5,000 or $1,000 today, I don't care because I've got my large lump sum of money. I'm feeling safe, okay? I'm feeling real safe in this investment and I don't have to worry about missing a boat because I've got my resonated investment I wanted to put in there, right? So that's the only thing about dollar cost averaging. You run the risk of missing a boat with the amount of money you wanted in there, okay? But when you put your large amount and you go all in at once, you can say when it starts to spike, I'm feeling comfortable because I'm satisfied with the amount of money I have in there, right? Now let's go into the cons of a lump sum investment. It's susceptible to bigger unrealized losses on downtrends and dumps, okay? Let me say that one more time. You're susceptible to bigger unrealized losses on the downtrend and the dumps, right? Now what I mean by this, like, if you invested at one average price and it falls 20% below that average price, you're more susceptible to unrealized losses than the guy that's dollar cost averaging, because guess what? He's gonna buy at that bad price. When it goes down 10%, he's buying more. Okay, so that's one of the cons. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Now, you may be more emotionally invested in your investment. Now, why do I say that? Because it's pretty painful if you lose or have unrealized losses on your life savings, okay? It's more painful when you put thousands into something that you had to work hard for and you see it going down. You might be more emotionally attached because it's a bigger amount of money. Now, we know when you invest, you shouldn't have any emotion, but we're human at the end of the day. A lot of people can't just turn all their emotions off, and that's normal, okay? Now, the next one is you miss out on potential lower buying prices. So you could have brought at a certain price and it can go lower than that. And you might think, damn, if I just waited, I could have brought it 30% cheaper. So you might have the regret in your head. Now, the last one is losses will be more obvious and / it can potentially be more affecting. Now, why do I say that? Because if you invested 7,000 at one go, you know how much you've lost, okay? When you invest 7,000 in one go, you know if it goes down 10%, I've lost a certain amount. If it goes down 50%, I've lost 3.5K. You know the amount because you know the initial investment. But when you dollar cost average, you kind of, unless you are writing things down, which you should, but even then, it's like your dollar cost averaging for years to come. So you're not worried about these losses here and there as much because you didn't go ahead and drop thousands at once, and you won't record your losses as much because you keep adding and adding. Okay, now we're gonna go on to my opinion right there for now. Let's go back on the graph so we can look and talk at this, right? On the Quant graph real quick. But my finale, right? My opinion and the final decision I would make in this situation, what do I think? Dollar cost averaging or actually buying the large lump sum? Now, I'm gonna be real, right? There's two ways you can put this. If you're a beginner and you are not good at technical analysis and you're not good at reading charts, you don't know trends or you don't know price action, the best way to go is dollar cost average. But if you know when things are bottoming out and you know patterns, you know double bottoms, you know double tops, you know supply and demand, you know support and resistance, and you actually know your things when it comes to technical analysis, then buying the large lump sum, in my humble opinion, is a lot better. Why? Because you can time the market and time when there's a good buying price and when it's not a good buying price. But if you're a beginner, I would not want no one to add 5,000 or 10,000 at the top of the market because they didn't know how to do technical analysis and they couldn't realize whether this was going to be an uptrend forever or get rejected. Now, I have guys in my circle that are very good at technical analysis, so I would have to go with the large lump sum. Why? Because I'm in a position where I know we're going to go lower. Quant might go lower than what it is now, and when you can time the market, or when you can do technical analysis on the graph, you can actually add a large lump sum at a great price, and then the rest is just history. When it starts to spike and in the bull run, it's like you literally bought at a very low price, and you can say, you know what, I'm safe right now. But when you dollar cost average, the only con is that you are buying at every price until the bull run. So you're kind of missing out on times where you could have sold and bought lower or bought more because you were lacking technical analysis. So that's how I'm gonna put it. If you lack technical analysis and you don't know how to read graphs, you don't know the patterns, you don't know the charts, you don't know the trends, okay, then I would say just continue to dollar cost average, not financial advice, okay, not financial advice, just for entertainment. I would say continue to dollar cost average, because either way on QNT, you are gonna make money regardless. Whether you buy a large lump sum at a lower price than this, or whether you actually DCA for the rest until the bull run, okay? So that's the ultimatum. I would say that if you know technical analysis and you can see whether we reach the bottom or not, or whether we're gonna break support and start tanking, then the best thing to do is just wait for a great buying price and add a large lump sum, not financial advice. But if you don't have no one in your circle that does TA, okay, continue to dollar cost average, not financial advice. Okay, with that being said, it was Young Wealth. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I will be back with more videos in the future. So at the end of the day, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I'm gone.